Welcome to Clear Signal, the channel where we cut through the noise and examine the world's most compelling mysteries with facts, eyewitness accounts, and an open but objective eye. If you're new to this, you're in the right spot. We explore forbidden history, unexplained phenomena, aliens, cryptids, and the stories that make us question what we think we know, always grounded in reported evidence and documented claims. Today, we're heading into one of the most remote and enigmatic regions on the planet, the Alaska Triangle. If this video helps you see these stories in a new light, please hit that like button right now and share it with a friend who loves a good mystery. And subscribe to Clear Signal with notifications turned on. We release deep dive videos like this every week, and you don't want to miss what's coming next. Let's begin. The Alaska Triangle is name given to a vast region stretching from Anchorage in the south, northeast to Juneau in the Alaskan Panhandle, and north all the way up to Utqiagvik, formerly known as Barrow. This area covers roughly 250,000 square miles of some of the most rugged terrain on Earth. Dense forests, towering mountains, massive lakes, glaciers, and thousands of miles of coastline. According to multiple news outlets and researchers tracking missing persons data, more than 16,000 people have disappeared in this region since 1988 alone, and with some estimates placing the total above 20,000 since the early 70s, that's roughly double the national average for a state that already has extreme wilderness challenges. High-profile cases include the October 16, 1972 disappearance of a small Cessna 310 carrying U.S. House Majority Leader Hale Boggs and Alaska Congressman Nick Vigich. Despite the largest search and rescue operation in U.S. history at the time, involving hundreds of planes and covering 325,000 square miles, no trace of the aircraft or its four occupants was ever found. While many disappearances are attributed to the harsh environment, sudden weather changes, aviation hazards in remote areas, and the sheer difficulty of search operations, some cases remain officially unsolved. Locals and researchers have long pointed to additional layers of mystery, including reports of creatures that fall far outside known science. One of the most consistent and documented cryptid claims in the Triangle centers on Alaska's largest lake. Iliamna covers more than 1,000 square miles and reaches depths of over 900 feet. For generations, residents of the surrounding villages, including Kakhonak, New Halen, and Pile Bay, have shared stories of something unusually large moving beneath its surface. The creature is most commonly called Illie by locals. In Tlingit tradition, it's known as Gunakadat. The earliest widely reported modern sightings came in 1942. Bush pilots Babe Alsworth and Bill Hammersley were flying low over the lake when they spotted a large, dull, aluminum-colored object just below the surface. They described it as having a blunt, almost square-shaped head and being significantly larger than any known fish or marine mammal in the lake. Over the following decades, similar reports continued, pilots and fishermen describing a creature anywhere from 10 to 30 feet or longer, sometimes traveling in small groups. In June 2017, multiple children and residents in the village of Kakhonak reported seeing an unidentified creature the size of a large whale just offshore. One resident, Gary Nielsen, relayed the accounts to local radio station KDLG, describing the excitement and fear in the community as several people witnessed the same thing over a span of days. In 1979 through 1980, the Anchorage Daily News made national headlines when it offered a $100,000 reward for clear, conclusive evidence of the creature's existence. The reward was active for a 5-month period and drew significant attention, but no one ever claimed the money. The offer still stands in spirit today as one of the longest-running unclaimed cryptid bounties in North America. No physical evidence, bones, clear photographs, or DNA has ever been publicly verified. Skeptics suggest possible explanations such as an oversized sturgeon, seals, or floating debris, while proponents point to the consistency of descriptions across decades and the remote, hard-to-access nature of the lake. Television crews from shows like River Monster and the Alaska Triangle have investigated the lake, but Illie remains unconfirmed. Moving from water to land, another persistent set of reports comes from the Kenai Peninsula area, particularly the former Canary town of Port Chatham, also known as Port Lock. In the 1920s and 1930s, workers and residents began reporting encounters with a large, hairy, upright walking creature. The locals called him Hairy Man or Bushman. One of the earliest documented incidents involves a man named Albert Petka. Around 1920, while living on his boat near the area, some accounts place the encounter closer to Nulatu, but tie it to the broader Portlock region lore. Petka and his dogs were reportedly attacked by a giant humanoid figure. The dogs reportedly drove the creature off, but Petka sustained several injuries, including a fatal blow to the chest, and died shortly afterwards, according to local oral histories. Throughout the following decades, hunters and loggers described finding mutilated bodies, enormous footprints the size of dinner plates, and hearing unearthly screams in the woods. By the late 1940s and early 1950s, fear had grown so intense that the entire community of Portlock gradually abandoned the town. Residents relocated to safer areas such as Kodiak and other settlements. The cannery and village were left largely empty, a fact documented in Alaska historical records. Today, the site is considered a ghost town, and the stories have become part of the regional folklore. No official government investigation ever confirmed the existence of such a creature, and mainstream explanations include possible misidentified bears, hoaxes, or the natural dangers of remote logging and fishing work in the 20th century. However, the consistency of eyewitnesses' descriptions and the complete abandonment of the settlement remain points of interest in cryptozoology discussions. Finally, we come to one of the oldest and most culturally significant legends in southeast Alaska, the Kushtaka, translated as Land Otter Man or Land Otter People. These beings are described in traditional Tlingit stories, recorded as early as the early 1900s by anthropologist John Reed Swanton. They are shape-shifting entities that can appear as otters, as half-human, half-otter figures, or even mimic the voices and appearances of loved ones. According to legends, Kushtaka lurk near rivers, lakes, and coastlines. They are said to imitate the cries of babies or the calls of women in distress to lure travelers and fishermen or lost children away from safety, sometimes dragging them underwater or transforming them into more Kushtaka, which in some beliefs prevents the soul from reaching the afterlife. Other stories portray them as occasionally helpful, saving people from freezing to death by transforming them. Traditional protections mentioned in the tales include copper, fire, dogs, or even urine. These are not modern sightings with specific first witness names in the same way as Illie or the Hairy Man. Modern retellings and occasional anecdotal reports continue to surface in southeast Alaska, but they remain firmly in the realm of cultural folklore rather than verified encounters. Television series such as Alaska Monsters and Missing in Alaska have featured the Kushtaka, bringing the legend to wider audiences. It's worth noting the real-world impact these stories have had. The 1979-1980 $100,000 reward for Illie generated massive media coverage and brought attention to Iliamna Lake. Television productions like the Alaska Triangle on Travel Channel, River Monsters, and Alaska Monsters have filmed multiple episodes in the region, creating jobs for local crews, guides, and experts. Cryptid-related tourism guided by mystery tours, Bigfoot-style expeditions, and folklore festivals contribute to Alaska's visitor economy in the same way similar attractions do in other parts of the world. While exact figures for Alaska's cryptid tourism are not separately tracked, the broader pattern seen nationally, where Bigfoot-related tourism alone is estimated in the tens of millions annually, suggests these legends help sustain interest in remote communities. No evidence has emerged that any individual or group has fabricated stories purely for profit, but the economic boost from media and visitors is a documented reality. So what are we to make of the Alaska Triangle and its cryptids? The disappearances are real and statistically higher than average, explained in most cases by the extreme environment. The creature reports span decades, cultures, and credible witnesses, pilots, villagers, hunters, yet none have produced physical proof that satisfies science. Whether these are misidentifications, cultural traditions, undiscovered animals, or something else entirely, the story continues to fascinate because they remind us how much of our planet remains unexplored. What do you think is really out there in the Alaska Triangle? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, respectfully, of course. If you enjoyed this objective deep dive, please give the video a thumbs up, share it with someone who loves mysteries, and subscribe to Clear Signal so you never miss our next investigation. We've got more cryptids, lost history, and unexplained events coming soon, along with black screen stories. Thanks for watching, stay curious, and we'll see you in the next one. Clear Signal, out.